Today we are roasting a turkey with a great little keto-friendly stuffing. Welcome back to Pop Keto, where we aim to help you live a sustainable keto and low-carb lifestyle. Today we are continuing with our Christmas-themed videos and we are roasting a turkey crown. I want to say a big thank you to the people who have been subscribing to our videos. It's been really cool. Also want to give a big shout out to one of our subscribers, Carmen, who actually had a go at making our crackers that we made a few videos ago. And she sent in this picture of her version and they look amazing. So thank you, Carmen, for sending that in and getting in contact with us. Hey, if you do try any of our recipes and you cook them and you put them up on socials, why not tag them? We'd love to see them. All right, let's get into it. Now, we are cooking a turkey crown today. Not a full turkey, just the crown. And the reason is, well, the reason is kind of that we don't love the gaminess of the dark meat. That's just how it is in our house. Now, I can hear you say, but the breast is just the driest bit of the turkey. You want the leg meat. And I say that with what we're doing today, it actually comes out really tasty, really delicious, and the little stuffing twist that we've got will actually really help it stay nice and moist. All right, so let us get into it, and we are gonna start with the stuffing. Now, a traditional stuffing will be full of breadcrumbs or something similar. Today, we're getting rid of all that sort of stuff. It's gonna be really simple. It's actually gonna be closer to a sausage meat, but we'll show you. Okay, so let's start it off. In here, we have 500 grams of pork mince. Now this is pork mince, which is about 20% fat, which is great for keto. It's also going to help in keeping the turkey nice and moist. Now what I will say is that if you are unable to get a higher fat pork mince of sorts, you can always add fats back into it using something like butter. Now to that we are going to add, this is one large onion which has been chopped up finely. And we're just going to throw the whole thing in there. Start breaking up that pork so we can get some of these ingredients through it. Next, we are adding 3 grams of dried sage. Now, if you have some fresh sage, you're more than welcome to replace it with that. The reason we've just used dry sage is reliability. It's harder for us to get fresh sage all the time when we need it. Our next ingredient is some fresh cracked black pepper. This is only about 1/8 of a teaspoon, so I haven't weighed it properly because it's not going to measure on the scale very well, but we're just going to sprinkle that in like so. And then the last one is salt. This is just 5 grams of salt. And I'm using pink Himalayan salt. Now again, 5 grams of pink Himalayan salt. Doesn't sound like much, but we're also going to salt the turkey, so it's going to have plenty of seasoning. Cool, that's it. That's all it takes to put together our stuffing, and we're gonna put that under the turkey skin in just a minute. So we move on to our turkey. Now I'm just taking this straight out of the packet and I've patted it down dry as I can. Now we are doing a dry brine on this turkey today, and I like to keep it simple. So in here we have just 40 grams of sea salt, and to that we are adding 5 grams of erythritol. Now I am using golden erythritol, but if you've just got plain old erythritol, that'll work perfect as well. Now we give that a little bit of a mix up. Probably could have used a bigger bowl for this, but it's fine. Okay, so to brine this, I'm actually going to put it into another container here. First, I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the bottom here. All good. Place our turkey on top of that. And then we just rub this in, sprinkle it over the top, get it to stick as much as we can. Make sure that if there's any crevices, you get it in there as best you can. Obviously, you've washed your hands. So this is going to season your turkey for when you put it in the oven. It's going to help draw the saltiness into the muscle of the turkey. And I'm realizing I've done this in the wrong order, but these sorts of things happen even at Christmas. So what I'm going to do, pull it back out. Happens to the best of us. What I was meant to do first is stuff the stuffing under the skin. So let's do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a gap between the skin and the meat. And starting at the neck side, I'm just going to push my hand up under the skin, just making that hole and separating them. It can take a little bit of doing. There we go, we're starting to get there now. Side's pretty much done. Now we want to be able to leave the ends of the skin attached to it because that's going to help hold the stuffing in. All right, so that is done. You can see there all the way through except for the edges. So we've got a nice big space that we can then put the stuffing in. So let's do that. Making sure we get all the way down to the end. I've got to admit, this is not my favorite part of cooking. But as long as you're keeping your hands clean, it's fine. Cool, and then we'll just smooth that out. So we've got a nice even layer of the stuffing. Brilliant, back into the tray. Wash your hands afterwards, of course. I'm just drying them again. All right, so how's that for a recovery? So we've put the stuffing in. I've made up a little bit more of the salt and erythritol, and I've sprinkled that on the top. Now we're gonna put this uncovered in the fridge. Ideally, you wanna do this the day before, but give it at least 12 hours. You could even leave it in there up to a day, but having it uncovered will help us get a nice crispy skin once we pop it in the oven. So into the fridge we go. All right, so I've popped that in first thing in the morning. Like I said, it would have been better to do last night, but it is still doable same day. We'll come back later. All right, it's been about 8 hours. I would like to do this a bit longer, but we're having this for dinner, so need to get it going, getting it out of the fridge. So even though it hasn't been as long as I'd like, you can still see, now it'll probably be hard to see, but you can still see that it has been drawing liquid out, and that is fine. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna rinse this off and pat it dry. Won't be a sec. All right, so that's the rinse and the pat down. You can already see the skin's just a little bit tighter. It's fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a bit of a rub down with some olive oil. Make sure it gets nice and covered. Now that's going to help get a nice brown skin on it. Again, washing my hands. Now I have preheated the oven to 220 degrees. We're going to put this in there for about half an hour. But what we're going to be looking for is for the skin to go a nice golden brown color. And then we're going to reduce the temperature down to about 175-ish. Now what we're looking for is the turkey to get to an internal temperature of 65 degrees. Once it does that, we'll pull it out and we'll rest it. Now hopefully you've got some kind of temperature probe that you can use, whether it's something like this, which is pretty straightforward. You poke it in and it tells you what you need to know. I've got a digital one where you can pop the probe in and it'll tell you the internal temperature. So I'm just going to set that up. All right, let's whack that in. Now I'm going to come back and check on that in about half an hour. Like I said, we're wanting that skin to go nice and brown. We may even need to turn it around, but we'll come back and have a look. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes and we're just going to check on it. Hard work getting that out. All right, so you can see this has got a really nice brown color. I am so happy with that so far. All right, so I am turning down the oven. So that's now at about 175 degrees, gas mark 4-ish. And we're going to let that go until the meat has come up to temperature, which again, we're aiming at 65 degrees. I have put a little bit of water in the bottom of the roasting pan, just so that the turkey juices are not burning in the oven. All right, let's put it back in. It's also worth mentioning that if your turkey wasn't browning evenly, now would be a point where you can actually turn it around in the oven as well to try and get that balanced brownness that you'd like to see on it. All right, so we'll come back soon. Alrighty, so we've got up to that 65 degrees, so we're going to pull it out of the oven. Look at this, trying not to spill the juices. Boom, that is so good. Feel the skin's gone all tight. It's, ooh, crispy. All right, so from here, we are going to cover this in foil and let it sit there for about 40 minutes to an hour. So there. Like so, and like I said, we'll let it sit there for about 40 minutes to an hour. In the meantime, let's put together a bit of an easy gravy. Now, in here we have 2 cups of chicken stock. Now, you're more than welcome to use some of the juices from your turkey. Do I risk it? Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Cool, easier than I thought. Now, to this, you could add 2 tablespoons of butter. But having a look at this, I can see that there's a fair bit of oil in there from the turkey. So I'm gonna choose not to add it in at this time. We'll see how we go later. A lot of gravy recipes may ask you to add some Worcester sauce. Now, I am going to replace that instead with 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And we're going to get a bit of funk from this gluten-free soy sauce. Again, 1 teaspoon. Now, obviously, this stage there is no thickener in there, so we are going to use xanthan gum as a thickener. We're going to put in half a teaspoon. And we're doing this while the liquid's still cool. I'm gonna sprinkle that over the top and then whisk. Cool, now we'll turn on the heat and we're gonna bring that up to a simmer and let that go for about 10-15 minutes. So we'll let that bubble away and we'll give it the occasional stir. And I can see that's already thickening from the xanthan. Okay, so this has been simmering away for a little while now, and you can see it's actually got nice and thick, and that's the xanthan doing its job as a gelling agent. So let's have a bit of a taste. Got a spoon here. It's pretty good. Can maybe use some pepper. So a good crack of fresh black pepper. Give that a whisk. Then another taste. That is really good. So that's it, the gravy is done. We are now just waiting on the turkey to finish resting up. All right, so this has cooled now and we are ready to chop it up. Let's have a look. Woo! Look at that. Oh wow, it's got juicy bits coming out, look at that. There we go. Oh. All right, so when I cut up a turkey, I prefer to carve it up, cut the breasts off, slice the breasts nicely, and it's much easier to get to when you're serving it up. Let me show you. All right, so we find the spine or the breastbone, and we're just going to push our knife down there. Nice. All right, so that's gone all the way down. Ooh, this looks so good. And we're going to gently pull it open. Cut it through. Look at that. Oh, see that there, look, so juicy. I'm going to sneak a little bit of a taste of the meat off this. Yeah, so you can see, that stuffing up there. Just put a nice layer of that between the skin and the meat. And the way we're going to cut it is just slice it across the grain of the breast meat. Like so. Look at that cross section through there. It's so good, gorgeous. And that is amazing. That is still so juicy. It's so good. So I'm going to help myself to a little end bit here, just for the taste test, you know, quality control, that sort of thing. Gorgeous. That salt from the brine has really gone through. And you get the sage in the stuffing. So good. You know what I need to have it with? Some gravy. So the gravy is a lighter gravy, but depending on the stock you use, it can be quite tasty. So let's give this a go. It's so good. So I had a bite in there that had a bit of the meat, bit of the stuffing, bit of the gravy, bit of the crispy skin. Oh, so good. This is one of my favorite things about Christmas. I have to admit it. People talk about the breast being so dry. Not at all. This is so good. And what I generally do is I cook this one the day before, and I'll usually cook another roast on Christmas Day. But this one, it's already set. I don't have to worry about it. I can crack on with my Brussels sprouts and all the other side dishes that are going with it. And it's just so good. So guys, give this one a try. Honestly, oh, I love it. Between this and the sides, you're gonna have a great low carb Christmas. So as always, give this video a like because it is so good. And tell us down in the comments, what is the thing that you generally have as roast when it comes to Christmas. Is it turkey? Is it easier to get a chicken? But definitely try this, you won't be disappointed. So thanks for watching everyone. We really appreciate having you guys along. Stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next week. Bye.